Fast stock car racing in the Motor City might just be the most fitting combination in all of the IORA Cup Series schedule. And tonight, the Michigan International Speedway plays host to the Pure Michigan 160, and qualifying concludes as this is the 10th round of the IORA Cup Series campaign. Next week, we're going to bring it back one more. This is the 9th and the final of the single digits. So far, been a fantastic championship battle. Great racing 1 week ago, and after a short track thriller in Bristol, we'll take it to the big tracks once again, and it looks like qualifying already to be set up with your starting grid on the screen. Number 4 machine of James Thurston, familiar territory up in front, but he's still looking to get back into the championship hunt as your defending champion from season 3. Starting grid already set, so without further ado, let's find out who's starting where in the Pure Michigan 160 as we're going to get on the roll in just a few moments time. James Thurston finds himself at the top of the board with a pole position inside of row number 1 with Henry Kaloff then in second in that number 63. Nice and smooth run for Kaloff, who's been especially good at these bigger tracks, with River Page being the 3rd place driver in qualifying, and Alex Anderson, after his best run of his career, to 2nd place last time he went racing at Kansas. He's a number 67, will return to fight another event for a potential race to win. Rounding out the top 5, Sean Conklin, 4 wins in 8 races so far. He's been fantastic on the campaign, and Jackson Carr finds himself 6th, right beside your winningest driver of the season to this point. Then from there, you're going to see Jacob Wilkerson starting in 7th. Wilkerson having a race victory just weeks ago at this circuit in the FORL Cup Series. He knows what it's like to get it done here at Michigan. Brendan Dugan, after a career run, a 2nd place finish at Bristol, he'll be up at the front of the field as well, qualifying in 8th outside of row number 4. Then from there, Oliver Quinney's going to find himself in the 9th spot, and Will Shack is going to be 10th, rounding out the top 5 of that number 35 machine, as 11th is going to be occupied by Aaron Schugel. Corey Lyles is then going to be in 12th, and to round out the top dozen, the number 56 machine, right beside Schugel, returning to action for the 2nd time in his IORA Cup Series career. 13th then going to be held with a driver of the number 11 in Kenny Riel. Alexander Derricks is going to be qualifying in the 14th spot, and 15 then is going to be held by Vincent Guesci. Vinny's going to be starting there in the 09 machine, right beside Braxton Whitaker's number 51, as drivers get on the way. Qualifying already concluded, and now time to roll off on the starting grid as it stands, and missing a few drivers. Daniel Mosteller going to be qualifying in 17th, opting to take another slow lap around the track, so he'll start at the rear of the field. Joseph Armstrong is going to be qualified 18th, but is not on the track for the start of this race. In addition, Matthew Brower will forfeit his 19th place qualifying position, retiring from the session, and will not race tonight, leaving John Smith, the 20th and final registered driver, as the final man to take to the track tonight in Michigan. That is your starting grid for the Pure Michigan 160, race 9 of season 4. And now with drivers getting on the way, this time through, the iRacing official pace car going to lead them to the front straightaway, and from there on out, it's in the hands of Thurston and Henry Kaloff. These two drivers have battled each other for victories before very big circuits, namely Pocono Raceway on the Wednesday night campaign in the FORL Cup Series. Kaloff came home 2nd to James Thurston's number 4. Strategy got him all the way to the end. Thurston was eventually the man who came home with that victory. It was a close and very contentious battle all throughout, and Michigan lends itself very well to strategic racing, as the night will go in just a few moments. Pre-race weather is going to be 78 degrees Fahrenheit with minimal humidity and northbound winds of 2 miles an hour. Fair temperatures as we're going to get back into the swing of things. This time by the iRacing official pace car drops down a pit road. James Thurston, your pole sitter, will lead the field to the green, and it's time to get back at it here in Motor City. The green flag flies. Welcome to the Pure Michigan 160, 80 laps of racing on the way. An early caution is going to bring the field back to, of course, Pace car. It's now going to be a first caution in the first lap, and it looks like it's going to be the number 87 of Daniel Mosteller having trouble. Not to mention, it looks like Will Shack and Sean Conklin's going to opt to miss the start, and for good reason there, as he's going to be held. It's the number 35 machine of Will Shack in the Tabasco machine, getting caught up with the first wreck of the day. Caution is out at lap 1, and already we got ourselves an incident on the track. Let's take a look back at what just happened here as drivers are spinning after the first 2 turns. That'll show you already the wreck after it happened. Now taking it back to the middle of the field, this is where it all began. As the drivers roll by our cameras here, you'll see Will Shack going to be the back of the frame. This is an instant replay on the matter, which will show you what just caused the wreck. Daniel Mosteller going to be there with Vincent Guecci, and Vinny's going to wiggle once, wiggle twice, get Demos into Will Shack. Not to mention Oliver Quinney going to get tagged multiple times over, and it looks like Kenny Reel going to get a piece of it as well. So multiple incidents at the same time, and immediately we're back under yellow 2 laps in out of 80. Yellow flag flying for the first time tonight, and just like that, we've got ourselves a caution to bring the field back to rest. Pacing so early going to mean some very small moves, if any. James Thurston is still your race leader. River Page drives up into the 2nd spot, and Jacob Wilkerson grabs 3rd, but it's going to be Henry Kaloff in the 4th spot as it stands. Jackson Carr going to be the rounding out of the top 5 in that number 83 as the Red Bull machine stays out on the track. Few other drivers choose not to, and already going to see drivers coming down a pit road. Corey Lyles, John Smith, Vincent Guecci, Oliver Quinney, Kenny Reel, Will Shack, not to mention we got guys still coming through as pit road gets busy. James Thurston and River Page are now your top 2 drivers at the front of the board. And it's going to be a very quick stop to the action to kick the night off. Now, think about it, there's only 18 drivers on the circuit. Joe Armstrong and Matthew Brower missing the start of this race. Does not look like they'll be with us for the remainder of the night. So keeping that in mind, going to be not a lot of stuff to see from the further on back end of the field as the green flag run hopefully progresses. We're expecting to see a lot of drivers running their own pace because while this track is especially reliant on the draft, eventually drivers begin to fade out of the running, and that's when you see less and less of the pack racing and more of that aggressive strategic battle you often see up in front at Michigan or at Auto Club. These big 2-mile tracks lend themselves not only well to the high speeds, but in addition, longer green flag runs, a lot of racing room, so if you get away from the clustered pack of those first 5-10 laps, you'll be in for a great night, as we mentioned, and as we saw, Auto Club, much of the same. Now, Auto Club, where Daniel Mosteller got it done for his first of 2 wins so far, he came through in a fantastic battle for the very end of it. It was River Page also involved, not to mention Sean Conklin clawing to keep himself in the points battle, and it's still fierce between Conklin and the aforementioned Daniel Mosteller. Sean Conklin right now finds himself in the 11th spot with the Ryko Performance Machine running just outside the top 10. He's your points leader coming into the night, but his points lead has not been major. He gains about 10 points coming after Bristol. However, before the night got going, before Bristol at least, he only found himself with a 2-point advantage over Mosteller, so he's been able to bring it up 10 points coming into tonight, and it has to hope that he can keep things going for the rest of the season here. It's not open and shut because he's won 4 races, because keep in mind, Daniel Mosteller has won 2, and the most similar track to Auto Clubber, it is Michigan, and well, it was Daniel Mosteller who got it done at Fontana. So now as the field goes double file this time by, Thurston and Wilkerson are high and low as River Page opts to follow your race leader into turn number 1 for the first restart of the night. As the drivers are set to go in to turns 1 and 2, hopefully going to get our first green flag lap in full. 4 laps in out of 80, and early slowdown is going to bring us back under pacing here. Thurston, Wilkerson, and Page, all drivers who found themselves at the front of the field in the Michigan event at the FORL Cup Series as their championship battle continues. Thurston and River Page fighting to make their way into the championship picture. Thurston, as a matter of fact, ended up the regular season champion, but a first round exit in FORL. He's the season 3 IORA Cup Series champion, the defending title winner coming into this season, and while it is unlikely he'll go back to back, there's still a chance, and why not light the fuse here and now. Pace car drops down to pit road this time by, lets James Thurston get back to work, and time to head back to the green. 5 laps in out of 80, it's Thurston with the advantage, and the Geico restart zone, they'll go right by it, and the first restart is on the move. And our first green flag lap puts us back in motion. Page and Thurston fighting each other for the race win, and Jackson Carr slowly but surely creeping into the frame as well, as Carr now finds himself in third, running down the back straightaway at full pace to keep up with your aforementioned top two. You'll see right now it's going to be James Thurston advantageous, but just barely, as he's going to get that lunge into 3 and 4 to keep the race lead. Jackson Carr remains just on the second groove as the caution flies again, and this time going to be the middle of the field. Conklin looks like he has trouble, but in particular, Brandon Dugan and Daniel Mosteller. Mosteller's going to get away from it somewhat, but not without major damage, and it looks like it's danger for the number 87 machine, a Travis Pastrana throwback, and in the wall, and effectively out of this race as the motor's blowing. The suspension looks destroyed. I don't think there's much left of Daniel Mosteller for the remainder of the night. Demos is done, and the caution flies for the second time in 7 laps. Now, Dugan went around, and that's not going to be the cause of the wreck. Rather, that's the consequence of it. So let's take it back, instant replay here, and find out what happened. See, as Demos is going to be following Brandon Dugan, it looked like it's going to be Dugan actually several spots ahead, and Brandon's already 1 lap down as we look back at our instant replay. So that number 87 machine caught up in the act as Dugan finds the wall first, side by side with Alexander Balderas, and Dugan's trying to turn in, gets decked by the number 95, comes up the track, and gonna make a huge hit to Daniel Mosteller's day, and that Ford Mustang is all but fully destroyed. His first race in the Ford all season long, and Daniel Mosteller not seeing much luck with the blue ovals. Comes down to the bottom of the track, and it looks like the night is done already as Demos puts it in the grass. It looks like the night is going to be over, not only for Daniel Mosteller, but potentially for Brandon Dugan, whether or not his damage is any major. In the same vein, caution is out, and we're back to our live feed. 8 laps in out of 80 so far, and 2 cautions have brought us back to pacing for the second time tonight. The Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport number 4. That is James Thurston, the leading driver, and that Ford Mustang up in front has the lead right now from Jackson Carr, River Page, and Jacob Wilkerson. Early in the going, a few yellow flags to kick things off, but still a ways to go for the rest of the night, so no major worries in terms of how the race is going to play out. But now the question becomes, what do these drivers do to shake this off and get back to the longer green flag runs we've been so accustomed to all throughout the season? And IORA making a big change this season, enacting stricter penalty systems, putting in much more firm rulings, and as a result, that different rule package and the difference in the driver's ability from season to season has made for a much cleaner environment for racing week after week. However, so far in this week in particular, looks like a bit of trouble getting going early. Big track causes for some big wrecks, and that seems to be the case once again. Michigan, second caution already, 8 laps in out of 80. James Thurston is your race leader and has remained as such from the drop of the green flag to this point, nearly 9 laps in. Set to go back to the green at the end of lap number 9. We'll be left with just about 71 green flag laps of racing at the very most, and hopefully we'll have about as much as we possibly can from that, if not more. Remember, green-white checkers are still optional, and if we do go for a long green flag run and then have a caution at the end, we can head to overtime procedure and have up to 3 race extensions. Caution is out, this time by 1 lap to green and lap 9 on FTN. As always, presented to you by our friends at Tangle Paints, the official graphic design partner of Fireball Talks NASCAR. Lap 9 on FTN, always symbolizing our strong relationship with Tangle Paints, and we'd love to have y'all aboard with the Tangle Paints team for the rest of 2023 and beyond. For trusted paint schemes at a price you can't beat, visit Tangle Paints on Twitter, spelled exactly as you see in the top left of your screen. High quality paint schemes and livery since 2021 to represent your sim racing identity. We'll be right back with our second restart of the day after a brief promotional break courtesy of our friends Toll Owen and the entire Tangle Paints crew. And coming back now, lap 9 out of 80, nearly concluded under caution for the second restart of the night. James Thurston finds some newfound company up in front. He's got Jackson Carr by his side, and Jacob Wilkerson takes a step back to let his PBR teammate get in the mix to fight for the race win. Caution going to be alleviated for the second time. We'll get back into the swing of things here. Thurston and Jackson Carr bunch up and get ready to roll. Green flag's out yet again, and we're back on our way with lap 10 of the action. And now as the field gets back on its way, going to be River Page wiggling just a bit. Some drivers beating and banging with the wall once again. We'll take some wider angles to ensure that everyone's all in well from the field to the back. So hopefully no more yellow flags coming back spontaneously. We've seen some minor beating and banging go to that full-blown yellow flag just because drivers right now having trouble on edge with these high speeds. Keep in mind these drivers are going in excess of 190 miles an hour down the straightaways. Matter of fact, River Page getting up to about 198 miles an hour before putting it in to turns 1 and 2. Now, unrestricted motors here at Michigan allow for such high speeds and hitting not only the triple digits, but going nearly twice 100 miles an hour. 200 miles an hour might not be too uncommon in the middle of the field, and even your leaders are pushing higher than 195. That's how fast this track is, but you got to brake big time into the corners, going down to about a speed of 175 miles an hour, and then get back on the roll. That's a major difference in speed. It's still incredibly quick, but you gotta understand those braking zones where you let off the power are that much more important, especially given they're not too frequent and there aren't too much a big difference in speed. It's more difference in technique. Henry Kaloff gonna lie down low right now with Oliver Quinney way high on him. Number 73 machine gets the run. Now tries to put one on Balderas as the number 95 machine drops back just a bit. Momentum in the favor of the high side here as John Smith brings Corey Lyles right up at the same time. Smith is going to block Balderas, does not get it fully clear down low, but John Smith still having a shot as they come through 3 and 4 all over again. 12 laps in out of 80, this time by nearly 3 wide of the stripe, and that it will be side by side for John Smith, barely getting that advantage over Alexander Balderas. Half a second ahead though. It's 13 laps in for James Thurston, and now getting into that rhythm to hopefully go much longer. Thurston's building a gap already, has himself 4/10 over River Page. Jacob Wilkerson going to be third, and Jackson Carr position number 4. Oliver Quinney rounds out the top 5 as we keep things rolling. Alex Anderson going to be 6th, Alexander Balderas is going to be 7th, and Corey Lyles will then be 8th, with Henry Kaloff position number 9, John Smith then 10th, Vincent Guecci 11th, and Kenny Reel in the 12th spot. The way they run so far, 16 drivers on the lead lap, going back to Will Shack. Daniel Mosteller is going to be 17th and 2 laps down. Brandon Dugan is 18th and now 8 laps down, and Sean Conklin, the main championship rival to Daniel Mosteller, also running in the back of the field, 13th, and going into the night hoping to get a bit more speed here. Michigan Auto Club suiting him a bit better, but it seems like tonight might not be a winning effort as he's been nearly 50-50 on wins and losses all throughout this season, opening up with a bang, winning at Daytona, and has 4 wins already on the campaign. So far, the class of the field has without a doubt been Sean Conklin, and while he might not be up in front as it stands leading the way, he's got a lot to rest on in terms of the point standings. Understanding the effort he's put in to this point has been nothing short of near perfection, and it looks like right now James Thurston looking to get a slice once again. Already a winner this season, but it came in a very risky strategy race at Kansas. Not really the dominance of James Thurston that we are used to seeing on other nights of racing, but tonight James Thurston trying to show that he's still got the ways of old to pull together another fantastic race win. Your Season 3 champion who came home when it was all on the line at Homestead, Miami, got it done, and is one of only 2 drivers ever to come home with an IORA Cup Series title to this point in league history. The 2 others came home to Daniel Mosteller, who has been the all-time winningest driver in IORA competition for quite a while here, but that might be broken if Sean Conklin can keep up with the early success he's had, not only here in Season 4 to add on to his efforts in Season 3. He was the fastest man to kick off last season, but the trucks much more suited his driving style, and now he's looking to adjust himself to the next gens, a much different driving package. So right now, Conklin's making a few more spots right up. He's up to 11th as it stands, with Henry Kaloff position number 10, Corey Lyles 9th, Vincent Guecci 8th, and Alex Anderson then in 7th. Balderas is going to see himself going nearly 4 wide. He's going to squish Quinny up to the top of the track, and 4 wide they'll be. Vincent Guecci beating him bang with Balderas. He's going to get very loose once, twice, and saves it. A very nice job for Alexander Balderas there as he keeps him going 3 wide. He's not happy with Guecci at all. Takes him down to the apron and shows his displeasure as he fades back now into the 11th position, and Balderas gets caught up in the moment there and shows Vincent Guecci he's not happy in the slightest. Now the question is, what's Balderas going to do about it? They'll rub once again, beating and banging, not so much, but it's looking like Balderas is going to swerve down low and make an aggressive block to get away from the situation. Vinny's going to see that it's just not worth the time. He'll lay back, let Balderas get back in motion, and just like that, the number 95 machine is going to be 10th right now after fighting for a top 5 run. Troubles arise, and he's going to fade way back 18 laps in out of 80, and it's going to be a familiar battle up in front with Jacob Wilkerson coming back into play. Wilkerson, who's been oh so dominant in the FORL Cup Series, comes on Thursday nights and occasionally has himself a chance for a good run. Hasn't been as dominant the way James Thurston is in FORL and the way Jacob Wilkerson also is in FORL. He hasn't seen as much of that success here in IORA. Been a lot of trouble for some of these very talented drivers to get consistent wins because the top half of the field here in this league, simply the best in the business. Multiple drivers with over 6,000 iRating, which is a metric that goes to show how these drivers are capable of running consistently high up in field. James Thurston right now, your leader, has a 6,882 iRating, one of the highest on the service. Sean Conklin, who's in 8th, has a 7,549. River Page, who's in 3rd right now, has a 6,018. And Daniel Mosteller, running 17th after incident, is having himself a great night. Not necessarily, but he does have a great metric in terms of his 63.23 iRating. These drivers are talented up in front, and it is no doubt that these are some of the quickest on the sim. However, it's a mix of drivers who take this as serious as possible compared to drivers who don't run all too often night after night, and it's more of a hobby for some of these guys, which makes sense. This has been a group of friends for seasons now, but at the same time, a competitive degree has been put alongside the more fun that we've seen in the past. And now, with competition becoming more and more fierce season after season, we're going to see a lap machine now. John Smith, the first of which, set to go 1 lap down on pace. Smith actually came down to pit road about 3 laps ago, and he came down for some extra servers. He was on pit road for 6.7 seconds in his pit box, so it looks like a very small stint for fuel. And just like that, John Smith running a very alternative strategy as it stands, and the number 48 machine set to go 1 lap down, giving that draft away for James Thurston to use. Going to help him out substantially, as now 21 laps in, Thurston, one of the many drivers who has opted not to go down a pit road once this point. It looks like Thurston, Page, Wilkerson, Jackson Carr have all not gone down to pit road at least once as the caution flies once again. Yellow flag is out. Guecci and Balderas, and it looks like a few other drivers caught up in the mayhem. Yellow flag is out once more. Let's take a look at what just caused it. As you'll see, mid-pack trouble is going to bring Balderas into the mix, and the number 95 machine of Alexander Balderas driving hard. He's getting to Corey Lyles a big time, and Conklin's going to shove Lyles down. They're both hitting each other big, and Balderas gets away as Kenny Reel begins to slide, and then Balderas comes right back up into Guecci. And not quite sure what to make of that for the number 95. We'll ride inside the cockpit to see what happened, but Alexander Balderas certainly not driving happy tonight, and it's going to show once more as we ride inside the cockpit of the number 95. And Sean Conklin may have initiated this longer stretch of contact here. Balderas turning it right, then tries to save it, gets it locked down, and it looks like he does flick it right. And Balderas, not happy at all, takes the opportunity, hits Vincent Guecci, and we'll see whether or not they make of it of an intentional wreck or otherwise, but that's a right flick on the steering wheel, and we'll see whether or not that's called a intentional or otherwise, because it looks like Balderas really not going to be happy with Guecci from beforehand, and he's going to destroy his stuff. Almost looked like he had it all clean, and now the number 95 machine sacrificing a shot up in front as he gets by Vincent Guecci that time through. Admins are going to make the call, and we'll take it back one more time just for an additional look. It's a tricky situation to make out because inside the cockpit you'll see that right hand flick, but otherwise no real signs to say there's any real motive. I mean, with how long it had been since they'd gone into each other, it would be surprising to make that motion and immediately take out another competitor. Yellow flag is out. These drivers do have one faster pair to work with, and this is all the exhibition you'll need to see as Conklin is pushing Corey Lyles up top, trying to get around not only Balderas, but this number 56. One more look at our replay, then we'll get back up to the live feed as pit road getting busy. James Thurston still the race leader. However, now you'll see side by side beating and banging, and Conklin does look to set it off. And Balderas looking to have it just about solid. Kenny Riehl's going to fly through, and just like that, trying to merge up to the track, Balderas gets a piece, and the yellow flag flies as such. So the caution is out. James Thurston is your race leader. He's going to win off of pit road and get back up in front. So Thurston's great night keeps on going in his favor. It's Thurston, River Page, Jackson Carr, Alex Anderson, and Kenny Riehl rounding out the top 5 as it stands. 23 laps in out of 80. Brandon Dugan is making up laps as we speak. He's 14 laps down, and Joseph Armstrong is back on the track. He's 19 laps down as it stands, and it looks like despite the fact the number 22 machine missed the first quarter of the race, Armstrong is with us and will now hope to compete for the remainder of this event. Armstrong comes in this time by, so we'll see whether or not it's a start and park, but comes in hot and will smoke up the tires as he leads Daniel Mosteller machine right down and in. So Demos, his night is not over. Remember, there is one faster pair as Joseph Armstrong comes in this time by, gonna get the points, and it looks like he's out of the cockpit once more. And just like that, double file, we're set up for what will be our third restart in 24 laps, getting ourselves a much longer green flag run, and after the fact, get that run, 2 cautions to precede it, and now hoping to get an even longer green flag run to keep things going live on FTN. This is the Pure Michigan 160, 80 laps of action night, and it's going to be 24 we're through so far, and the first quarter of action so far has been nothing short of full-on excitement. But the question is, can anyone get by James Thurston? We've had our fair share of wrecks. We even had ourselves a pit cycle under yellow, and every driver has come down to pit road at least once. So whether or not it's going to be possible to pass James Thurston comes down to if anyone's got the raw speed or if anyone else has the opportunity to maybe make a bit more time and find themselves capitalizing at the very end of this stint. It's going to be maybe a green flag run to look forward to as the field comes by, this time through for restart number 3 on the night. Thurston, Page, Kenny Riehl. Here we go again for the third restart here in the Michigan International Speedway. And it's a great jump out in front for Thurston, but it's going to be huge momentum for River Page all over again. Mid-pack going to get even closer than beforehand. And just like that, risky driving on back as the front runners continue to move away. Now River Page has the top spot, looking to hope to lead his first lap of the night. Thurston goes all the way up to the high side, but can't get the momentum. And just like that, River Page has the advantage, and the number 24 will lead the way. And just like that, Thurston going to be taken not only out of the lead, but outside the podium as Sean Conklin charges up and takes it right back from the field. Sean Conklin going to be in third now and finds himself just tenths of a second behind the overall top spot, fighting up in front. And that number 54 machine is saying earlier before the race he did not feel all too confident with Michigan, but it looks like now that confidence is coming in spades as he's usually the driver who figures it out as the night goes on. 3 wide for the race lead that time by. Thurston occupies the bottom side. Middle middle lane is going to be River Page, and you'll see there Jackson Carr finds himself on the third groove. High side rolling for Jackson Carr, and the Red Bull number 83 is still right there. Lunges it deep through 1 and 2 as the number 4 of James Thurston now tries to work it on the bottom, but Jackson Carr's got himself up on the top, and there's a lot of drivers tonight getting chances up in front they don't often see and making the most of this moment. Not every race here in IORA is impossible to win for the driver who doesn't have many chances, and at Michigan, if you're good with high-speed tracks, good with that certain 2-mile type, it is a category of tracks in and of itself. It might not be the best known, and it might not be the most common, but Michigan and Auto Club, they're birds of a feather. So if you're quick at those tracks with the high speed and the high banking with a lot of time on the throttle, but not 100%, you'll be sure to run up in front just about every time we visit this specific type of circuit. And now Sean Conklin, despite some troubles early, finds himself going for the lead on the back bumper of Jackson Carr. Take a look on the front end of the number 54 as Conklin gets even closer to the top spot. And looking right now, Sean Conklin as he goes up to that high side, looking to make the pass at the stripe. The advantage goes barely to the number 54. Sean Conklin leads his first lap of the night and finds himself with the race lead once again, looking for the 5th win of a 9-race campaign. Sean Conklin has been second to none in terms of his ability to come out there and win just about every other night. And it looks like Conklin trying to knock out the 5th one early, give him some time to breathe for next week, as he's now going to find himself side by side with Jackson Carr all over again. Jackson takes it down to the bottom side, has room down low, and the Red Bull number 83 sticks it deep, has a shot to go for it, and at the stripe should have the minor edge, and it looks like he will not. James Thurston goes back up top, and now Thurston's fighting for the race lead. As James Thurston gets back in the mix, he takes Sean Conklin back up to the lead, puts himself in third, and now tries to run that second groove to maybe make something happen right up top. Side by side, door banging again. There's Jackson Carr getting a piece of it, and the number 83 machine oh so close as they come across this time by. Now you'll see James Thurston lunges down low and has that advantage over Sean Conklin. Just like that, race leader back in the hands of your pole sitter, and Thurston's got the advantage coming now to the end of lap number 30. One man down a pit road, this time by back of the field. You'll see it way back now. Braxton Whitaker looks like he actually missed his pit stop, and just like that, the number 51 gets back on the way. But slow rolling for Braxton Whitaker as he looks like he tails off in a pit road. Luckily, all is going to stay green, but he fades back big and now finds himself just about 3.5 seconds away from John Smith, who is the next to last man on the lead lap. Still 17 drivers on that lead lap, with Brandon Dugan 14 laps down and Joseph Armstrong 19 laps down. So a lot of drivers here still with a fighting chance for the race win. Other drivers, well, it's not so much for them, but that's just the way it goes on some nights here in the IORA Cup Series. Not everyone having the same level of opportunity from start to finish. And for the guys who are up in front keeping it clean, they've got a much better shot, as Thurston right now will lead Sean Conklin, River Page, and Jackson Carr at the head of the field, single file up in front directly. Then you'll see side-by-side racing as Balderas takes it 3 wide now, and Oliver Quinney and Kenny Reel. We've seen some troubles before so far from Balderas as he drops it down to the bottom through turn 3. The number 95 machine's got the grip, makes the pass, and now washes up to the middle and sees a bit more trouble as Kenny Reel comes right back to bite him. Oliver Quinney coming through as well, as they'll be 3 wide all over again. Vincent Guecci going to be up top, and Balderas going to opt to keep the middle as they come through this time by. No trouble, but now Balderas going to lead on the bottom side much more. How about this? The number 95 machine takes it right back up to the top of the board. He's in the top 10 now. Looks like after trouble in the cautions, he gets back to the single digits, fighting at the head of the field. Daniel Mosteller's number 87 machine, after troubles early, runs now in the 11th spot. And while Sean Conklin, his championship rival, is up there in second, Demos does have younger tires than the remainder of the field. So if used properly, there's an opportunity now for Daniel Mosteller to get back up with the front runners and maybe make some more time. Now Oliver Quinney comes down to pit road, this time by 34 laps in after a 10-lap stint, so a very brief run for Oliver Quinney as he opts to come down to pit road somewhat early as opposed to the remainder of the field. The Toyota Camry number 73 is down and in. It's James Thurston leading the way, Sean Conklin second, and River Page third. That's the way they roll, and pit cycles might open up all over again as Oliver Quinney tries to do something different. He'll take it down and in, and we'll see whether or not anyone opts to replicate that strategy as we still have more than half the race remaining. Maybe the game plan for Quinney that time by is to split the remainder of this race, but with more than 40 laps left out of 80, it really doesn't make sense to do so so early. So we'll see how that plays out for the driver of the number 73 machine as James Thurston leads from Conklin and River Page. Sean Conklin going to be still there on the back bumper. The Ryco Performance number 54 maintains the second spot. River Page holds out and holds on for third. Jackson Carr going to be fourth right now as he'll lunge it a bit deeper, and Jacob Wilkerson rounds out the top five with Aaron Schugel running in sixth. And a little bit of collaboration between Schumacher Racing League drivers and guys who run on Thursday nights in IORA. Aaron Schugel making a leap from the Monday night campaign as their finale will be next Monday night. Keep an eye out on FTN for the Schumacher Racing League 2023 finale. It's been a fantastic 26 races, and now it's time to see a fantastic season wrap up. All the excitement you want in a Final Four race and then some. The Schumacher Racing League invites you to watch it live on FTN, their 2023 season finale. Aaron Schugel is going to be one of the many drivers in contention for the race victory. Only 4 remain in the championship battle, and all eyes are set to see whether or not it will be Jordan Kuntz, who's been the odds-on championship favorite, or if anyone else can come through and lay claim of the championship at the Homestead Miami Speedway, live at 8:45 on Monday night, exclusively on the Fireball Talks NASCAR YouTube channel. Now, up in front, we'll look furthermore at the guys who are racing to get there. Vincent Guecci, Corey Lyles, Alexander Balderas hovering around the top 10 running order. It's going to be Balderas, who's now running exactly in 10th. Daniel Mosteller looking to get there in 11th, and the driver who qualified in 2nd, but not having much of it ever since, it is Henry Kaloff, that number 63 machine, having some trouble from his opening laps and now finds himself outside the top 10. Certainly not where he'd want to be given all the pace he had, not only at Michigan when the FORL Cup Series went to this track, but all the pace he's had in qualifying, practice as well. In particular, running a hot lap second best and fading back this far, not all what he wants to see, as your race leader is still indeed your pole sitter, and vice versa, because it's James Thurston leading 38 laps in out of 80. Then you're going to see Sean Conklin in second, the Ryco number 54 maintaining that runner-up spot as James Thurston comes through in the third position. Top 3 has been stagnant for quite some time now as they're getting closer and closer to the halfway point. Thurston leads them by yet again, and the top 5 goes back to Aaron Schugel, Jacob Wilkerson with that bunch as well, and it looks like now with Jacob Wilkerson coming through, so is Kenny Reel. Oliver Quinney is a lap machine, as we mentioned beforehand. He's running a much different strategy as opting to race with the leading guys, despite the fact he's 1 lap down and having a lot of trouble holding on for Quinney, but that's going to be by choice as he opts to go back to pit road early, get a pit stop in, and it looks like now trying a different strategy to get to the end of this race. Let's see whether or not it is what works. It might be other drivers saving tires that makes it, or saving fuel per se, that should be irrelevant. We'll see whether or not that will be the best strategy to go with right now. Oliver Quinney does it different as they're going to be racing in 10th to the back of the field here. Now Alexander Balderas is going to fade back into 12th, losing not 1 but 2 spots at the same time, as Daniel Mosteller and Corey Lyles are going to be still ahead of him, and Henry Kaloff gets by as well. Coming through this time by for what will be the halfway lap on the night, 40 laps in, and next time around at the stripe it's going to be only 40 laps to go. James Thurston coming through 3 and 4 has the edge, and with just a car length to spare, he'll come down to the stripe to lead at the halfway point. 40 great laps for James Thurston so far, leading almost every one of which, and coming through this time by, James Thurston holds his own and finds himself on top of the board. 41 laps in out of 80. Just goes to show how dominant James Thurston has been so far. He has not finished first, but at the halfway point he is your leading man, leading 35 laps out of 40. So that goes to show how dominant Thurston has been, regardless of circumstance. Some pressure from Conklin and River Page as well, and a little bit from Jackson Carr, not to mention that number 83 machine. He's also there too, but still, No other driver quite like James Thurston all throughout the night, and that's the way it's going to remain if nobody can get by. The clean air for Thurston has been the big proponent of his race lead. Nobody else able to get that clean air, and as a result, he's got the big advantage in holding on to every spot he has, and right now in particular, having the most important spot of them all, leading the way lap after lap and watching all your competitors shred their equipment right behind you. It's a satisfying feeling, but it still keeps you on edge because of one slight mistake and you'll have your stuff burned up as well, because you know these drivers, while they might be having a bit more trouble to get by James Thurston, once they do, they could leave him in the dust just like that. The difference between clean air and dirty air at high-speed circuits, particularly with this next-gen package, is major, and if these drivers are not able to get by quick, they get stalled, and they will stay behind someone for quite some time now. Long distances spent behind your rivals and your adversaries on the track as the number 54 Ryko machine goes way up high. It's going to be now Sean Conklin getting that run up top. He's going to leave James Thurston out to dry. Thurston slots right back in, but Conklin grabs the race lead all over again, and just like that, Sean Conklin's got the top spot once more as he takes him through, this time by River Page. Going to be side by side with Jackson Carr, and at the line they'll get at it all over again. First 43 laps have been smooth for these front runners, and now it looks like Conklin getting better and better time after time. It could be Sean Conklin and James Thurston going till the very end, but that's to say nothing of Jackson Carr, who is still putting the pressure down, and now looks for second on the high side of the circuit. Jackson Carr not done yet, and now putting down his own power as they rush down the back straightaway all the same. Aaron Schugel going to be in the mix, not to mention now Kenny Reel and even Daniel Mosteller getting closer as Demos finds himself now running in the 8th spot while his championship adversary leads the way. It is Sean Conklin with the advantage, 44 laps in. Might not be done just yet, but Conklin has made substantial gains, and those major moves are going to pay off so long as he keeps it calm and keeps clean till the end. New race leader in Sean Conklin, advantageous up in front. Jackson Carr and James Thurston continue to fight side by side for the second position, and third place is going to be held by Thurston right now, but fourth then going to be River Page. It's a very small group up in front, the last of which in it is going to be Kenny Reel in 7th. Lap machine of Oliver Quinney is indeed one down as it stands, finds himself in the 17th spot, running with your front runners on a different strategy, and the alternative strategy might give way to some Oliver Quinney-led laps, but right now it's no telling whether or not it's going to be good enough for a win or if it's going to be good enough for hardly a top 10. Quinney's trying something different, and with 46 laps in on the day, now you're starting to see crunch time in full effect. You got to understand what the right moves are and what might not be the best decision given the current circumstances. So now understanding what you've done to this point is about as essential as it gets. Conklin leads this time by with Jackson Carr and Jacob Wilkerson still following him. You'll see way down on the bottom side, Carr opts to take it. His teammate and Jacob Wilkerson stays on groove number 2, and River Page opts to hold it down on the bottom. Side by side, Thurston, Page, not to mention it's going to be Ross Corlett, and in addition, Kenny Reel still there, but the front runner is becoming more and more of a single file train up in front, and it looks like more of the same in the back of the field. Joseph Armstrong right now finds himself a total of 28 laps down overall, and that is going to be due to all the laps he lost throughout the entirety of the night to this point. Of course, missing the start of the race is detrimental for any circumstance, and missing that much time, just about the first full quarter of this race and then some, really going to lose the opportunity to fight for anything as the night goes on. Now Brandon Dugan comes down to pit road that time by, and Dugan going to make it in for a competitive stop after troubles for him early and finds himself 14 laps down at the stripe. Sean Conklin's got the advantage. Jackson Carr now the man running firmly in second, and James Thurston with dominance early and even dominance throughout the halfway point finds himself slipping back slightly into 5th. Wilkerson is going to wiggle, and that'll give way to River Page as now River looks for that 3rd position, and he will be able to take it. Now Wilkerson's going to be the man who falls back into the clutches of Aaron Schugel, and James Thurston's going to see his Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport number 11 teammate go down to the bottom side. Taking a look at Kenny Reel, now there's a shot as he goes up top. It's Jacob Wilkerson still looking for an opportunity as they come through this time by. It's the number 4 machine of Thurston holding on well at 49 laps in. Gets back to recover for the 4th spot. Sean Conklin advantageous 49 laps in, and that's the way they roll as we're still under green here from Michigan. As the leaders stay sharp up in front, pit cycle is slowly but surely coming into play, but not many drivers have made the call down low. Brandon Dugan, the most recent of which, is a lap machine, several laps down already after early troubles on the night, and right now for Dugan, he finds himself in the 18th position. Not much more he can gain given the fact we've only had one retirement, and that was officially a session-based retirement. Matthew Brower registered for tonight's event, however disconnected and officially quit the session before qualifying began. So Brower's night was over before it started. Rest of your field who registered are still on the track. Joseph Armstrong missed the vast majority of the opening sector. As a result, he is several laps down. Brandon Dugan, who finds himself in 18th here, well, he got involved with the very first caution, and as a result, he had to go down to pit road, tow it in, substantial damage repaired, and either way, Dugan is still on the track, and Oliver Quinney with an alternate pit strategy is one lap down. Still up there with the leaders right now, watching them all fly by, and side by side at the stripe, nobody's going to be in the first pack, as you'll see now drivers opting to drop down low. Vincent Guecci, Joseph Armstrong, Corey Lyles making in this time by 51 laps in out of 80. A big group comes in flying, and just like that, we've got ourselves a run down to pit road. Pit road getting busy. Will Shack, Braxton Whitaker in addition, coming in with the Tabasco number 35, and Braxton Whitaker's number 51 making it through as well. Looks like Joseph Armstrong officially going to disconnect from the session. We'll see whether or not that is a certainty here, as he's not going to be on the track any longer. Armstrong hops out of the cockpit, and it looks like, pending confirmation, that is the end of Armstrong's night. Looking at the official connection log, that it will be Joseph Armstrong's night has ended, and just like that, there is going to be one retiree during the race. But the rest of your field has gone great so far in terms of keeping it on the circuit. John Smith looks to come down to pit road this time by, will come in alone in the 12th spot, and just like that, another driver opts to come in this time through with big changes in the order. 52 laps in, the pit cycle keeps on going, and John Smith drops through with Sean Conklin advantageous before he comes down to pit road. Brings another man with him in Jackson Carr, Aaron Schugel, and Jacob Wilkerson. Pit road gets busy, and just like that, pit entry going to be active as there's some smoke throughout the field. Nothing major, and you'll see even Henry Kaloff able to make it through within the same realm of time. Now a small group up in front opting to stay on the track. River Page, James Thurston, and Kenny Reel, as it stands, all going to be within arm's reach as they remain on the track. And just like that, we've got ourselves a few drivers opting to go long. The undercut more prominent and definitely more popular, as you'll see drivers have not yet made it out of pit road, still not visible on your screen, and the leaders are working their way through 3 and 4 this time by to come down to pit road. This brings Page, Thurston, Reel, and it looks like now your leader is going to be all out of cycle. Kenny Reel going to make his way in as the final of which in that small bunch. Sean Conklin is still scored in 4th right now, and he'll have a chance to make up a lot of time here as he has his rivals on pit road about half a minute away he is from getting to every one of which. So an overall very calm pit run after a few laps time. 54 laps in out of 80 will get back on the way, and it looks like most troubles have been alleviated for these guys. It's a very easy 1-2-3 pit stop cycle. No major incidents, nothing to note of save for the fact that Sean Conklin has a major advantage over the remainder of the field that went in. Daniel Mosteller has a good pit stop to put himself up in a 5th and is now trying to chase down Sean Conklin, who's right in front, 1 spot and 2.2 seconds. Sean Conklin now going to be seeing that Thurston splits between Thurston, of course, the number 4 machine, behind Conklin and ahead of Mosteller. So your championship rivals split up by your defending champ, and Thurston's now going to be 1 second back on Conklin with a 1 second younger set of tire. And here at Michigan, the tires get shredded, so that is still quite the big deal to keep an eye out on, because we saw in the Saturday Night Truck Series with less power in the engines, a bit less speed overall, 1 lap lap of tire wear can still mean a big deal in the final few laps. Now, Matthew Weeks was chasing down Jordan Kuntz and company. However, Weeks was stopped by a lap truck who was drifting all throughout the track with no control, and as a result, it was unfortunately no race-winning battle, but timing and scoring was shaping up to give us one hell of a show until the very end. Now, 55 laps in, Conklin leads calmly from Thurston, Mosteller, Jackson Carr in fourth, and Vincent Guecci to round out the top five. And right now, with the top five being calm as they get back into the swing of things, it's your guys up in the front of the field who are needed to decide it amongst themselves. 56 laps in, Conklin's got the advantage, looking for win number 5, and it looks like all has gone well for the driver who's made it all back up throughout the entirety of the night. Starting in the middle of the field, then going all the way down to the back of it in the first 2 cautions time, and ever since that point, he's been on the rise continuously. Now with the final stretch just ahead of him, he knows that there's only a few laps separating him and a 5th race win. It will be unbelievable for Sean Conklin to run it back and get back in front for another chance at the checkered flag. 5 wins so far in the campaign if he gets it done tonight, and that's 5 out of 9. So more than half of the season will be won by Sean Conklin to this point, if in fact he gets it done tonight. And as it stands, the driver of the number 54 is advantageous with about a second to spare over his rival in James Thurston. And 57 through so far out of 80. Daniel Mosteller going to be 3rd, Jackson Carr going to be 4th, Vincent Guecci going to be 5th, and Corey Lyles position number 6. Wilkerson, you'll see right there, is going to be in the 7th spot working down to the bottom side, and that number 43 machine opts to lay down low here, trying to get by another Ford Mustang in his sights. Not only Guecci, but in addition, you'll see Corey Lyles, and not much coming of the run right now for Wilkerson, but for Corey Lyles, it's another impressive night to keep him back in the mix. Now, we've seen Lyles win in the IORA Cup Series before. However, it's been a drought of over a season and a half now. Last win came as the opener of Season 3, a thriller at Daytona at the line, just barely getting it done. And with 23 laps to go this time by, Conklin has that edge as they'll come down to the start-finish line with 22 laps to go. As always, with the highest quality iRacing cameras on the market, we will crank it up with 22 laps remaining, courtesy of our good friends at Track Cams for Gourmets at TrackCams22.com. Check out TrackCams22.com after tonight's broadcast as we crank it up with 22 laps to go. And coming back now with 17 laps remaining, 64 laps in, Sean Conklin, he's been up there all throughout the season, but tonight, he's been able to make it from the back of the field up to the front. And with 17 laps to go, Conklin is there, and he's got the race lead now by 0.3 of a second over James Thurston. However, as we mentioned, Thurston has been slowly but surely clawing back in. And look at who else has Daniel Mosteller in the number 87. Championship rivals first and third, and James Thurston, who looked bound to win this race early in the going, now puts himself in the middle. It's a championship sandwich with the defending champion in the middle, and a lot of top-tier talent up in front now, fighting within half a second of one another. The best in the business. They've been able to make it through up the top of the board, and now with only 16 laps remaining, the last dash is truly on at speeds of over 180 miles an hour each and every lap around. These are the moments that matter the most. You made it through the earlier laps, you made it through the mid-stage, and in all honesty, it does not look like we are expecting any more cautions or any more green flag pit stops on the night. Everything can change, pit stops less so than the cautions. However, at this rate, a lot of the strategy has already been put into place, and a lot of these drivers already understand where they're headed for the rest of the night, yellow flags or otherwise. And now Aaron Schugel going to be the back bumper of your race leader, Sean Conklin, getting some pressure from a lap machine right now as Schugel continuously looking for an opportunity, takes it way up top now on Sean Conklin, losing some more time now as Conklin still getting that pressure, not only from the lapper of Aaron Schugel, but from James Thurston right behind him. Take a look now as Thurston's going to lie back just a bit, get back in the draft of Aaron Schugel, and let Aaron do a lot of the work here as Daniel Mosteller is also coming through. Now, Demos getting his third win of the season would be a huge deal for him to continue not only a great season for his own count of victories, but also keep himself in the championship fight. He's not horribly off coming into the day, but coming out of Chicago, it was only a 2-point gap, and he just did not have a Bristol to back it up. Conklin was able to come home once again with the win, and some underdog guys like Brandon Dugan made it by Demos in the dying laps, which took away a shot at a successful finish to run right behind your eventual man at the end of the checkered flag, the winner in Sean Conklin. A baker's dozen to do it, this time by 13 laps remaining, and number 54 Ryko Performance Machine of Sean Conklin has the lead, and he's got a quarter of a second to build off of here with James Thurston right there in the second spot. Now it's going to be Aaron Schugel out of harm's way. The leaders get by him quickly, and now no reason to worry about that in particular. However, this is going to leave Sean Conklin with the full-on pressure of drivers who are as quick as he is, if not faster. Thurston has been towing the number 87 in his draft all night long. In this run in particular, you'll see a lot more help. Daniel Mosteller benefiting the most of anyone right now, keeping up with your leader of Sean Conklin, because Thurston's draft has kept him in play, and 69 laps in, a nice lead for Sean Conklin is slowly but surely dissipated, and now Thurston's got a shot to make it happen all over again. Rushing down the back straightaway, looking to get that lead before the single-digit laps. Thurston has made time and now has to make some room if he wants to get that one and only extra spot. It's time to go for it here and now. The Ryko number 54 has the edge. It's about a tenth and a half, if not that. It's going to be a bit less as they'll come across the stripe once again. Single file for the most part, going all the way up top in very similar lines through the straightaways here, but you'll take a look and see their differences as they enter the corner. You'll see right there Sean Conklin going to take it lower early, but then Thurston follows up with some lower line later in the run through the corner. It's a bit of a later apex as opposed to diving in early and diving in first. So a different strategy through 1 and 2. Then you'll take a look at 3 and 4 and see maybe not more the same, but it's going to be a different phenomenon as you'll see Thurston go all the way up top with a huge head full of steam. The momentum carries him all the way up to the top side, and James Thurston all of a sudden takes it right back. New race leader, James Thurston, advantageous. And a demonstration of how these two drivers get to each and every lap is very quick time. It's the number 4 machine of James Thurston making it back on top, 71 laps in out of 80. And just like that, Thurston's got himself the race lead, and he's got it there in the final few laps. The dying section of this event, and it's going to be Sean Conklin fading back already. Thurston now going to have the chance to run away with those new sets of Goodyear rubber that he's been able to put on late. It's the Goodyear Eagles now looking to soar away from the field as Thurston's got the edge by now nearly a quarter of a second for his own sake. Sean Conklin lies back and is still there in second, not to mention Demos is still in third. Looks like right now for Mosteller's opportunity to get back up there, it's going to be slim to none, and he'll have to fight a bit harder in the final lap if there's anything left to maybe make up that time. It's still a very hard opportunity to catch up to given how much distance is made not only by Conklin but by Thurston. I mean, Sean Conklin giving it his all to try to keep up there with Thurston in the final few laps of his lead, and that's something you really cannot do without putting 110% into it. Older tires, very hard to fire back with, but right now the fight is on, not only for the lead, but in this case for second if Daniel Mosteller has anything left for the 54 of Conklin. Looking right now at another close battle, Vincent Guecci and Corey Lyles, they're going at it for the 6th place as it stands, and Guecci's going to find himself going down to the bottom side at first. Initially going to go try dropping a little. Lyles opts to stay up high this time through and let the momentum carry him down the back straightaway, and understanding momentum a big deal now as that 09 machine rushes down at the tracker boots 56 holding forward as well. Mustangs, the Blue Ovals fighting each other in the Motor City, and that's the way it ought to be with the final few laps in mind. 73 laps in, making it 74 out of 87 laps to go, and Thurston has made it oh so far, now continues to get away from Sean Conklin. The question is next, what's going to happen for the remainder of the field, because now Jackson Carr beginning to make some more time on everyone ahead of him. In particular, looks to be making more time on Daniel Mosteller, and the draft beginning to set in at the same time. Jacob Wilkerson rounds out the top 5, but Jackson Carr is a firm footing in 4th, and will not have to worry about what he's got right now. That Red Bull number 83 holds out in the 4th position and is going to find the Geico restart zone without any trouble at the line. It's going to be Jackson Carr leading the way in terms of the battle for the 4th spot, but that battle looks to have slowly but surely faded back. Jacob Wilkerson not going to be in distance with the 83. Now it's all about whether or not Jackson Carr can make it up to Daniel Mosteller. There's still a chance here as they come through 1 and 2. Looks like Demos slowly but surely losing time. That time by for Daniel Mosteller, it was a 40.084. For Jackson Carr, it was a 40.014. And that's the way they roll with 6 laps remaining. Side by side between Guecci now, and it looks like Corey Lyles drops back the most of which, and it's going to be Oliver Quinney diving deep into the corner, trying to make something happen as a lap machine. He stays up top and uses that new tire grip to hold on. It looked like he was almost out of sorts, keeps it straight, and keeps things going. Look further back and you'll see another battle here. Will Shack trying to catch up to John Smith. Nothing major. Lap machines are also fighting. Alexander Balderas is in 12th and Braxton Whitaker is chasing him down in 13th. It looks like Whitaker is actually going to have a minor advantage in pace a few laps in succession, but now going to fade back by a half second as Alexander Balderas drops 1 lap down as well. Now Thurston gets by him to put him 1 down with 4 laps remaining this time by. The rest of the field still filing through, and a largely clean race to this point. We'll give you the race summary from the first lap to now lap number 76. 4 laps to go with 3 cautions on the day, 9 caution laps in an equal amount of 9 lead changes. A very, very risky start of this night with 2 cautions in 8 laps, but from there only 1 caution for the remaining 70 odd laps we've had since, and it's going to be 72 if we go truly all the way. Not a given just yet, but a great way to turn around the night here in IORA, as we've seen clean races. Even if we have some troublesome starts, these guys have pulled it off and pulled it back together almost every night we've gone at it, and now they're set to do so once again. 6 miles left, and the leader, James Thurston, continues to pull away as Jackson Carr might be catching up to James Wilkerson too, and it's going to be vice versa as everyone now getting bunched up for the final time. Demos losing pace and might just lose a podium, and similar to what happened, of course, with a Brandon Dugan at Bristol, Demos in the later stages of the night might find himself in trouble a bit more than he'd need to be, losing time, losing pace, and he needs these positions more than anything to stay in the championship fight. Being 1 spot behind Sean Conklin when all is said and done is just enough for him to maintain a very fair chance in the championship. Anything more, really, you can't afford to have those losses. Now it's going to be Will Shack very slow on the track after some contact with Alexander Balderas, a minor, but it looks like it's going to cost Will Shack a lot of pace there. there as they come through. Yet again, Will Shack going to drop down to the bottom, losing some time down the backstretch. River Page set to be put one lap down again. He's already one down as we speak, set to go two down. It looks like Thurston opts to go right up high to begin making the move. Thurston going to go up top, River Page right there with them, and as they come across the white flag without any trouble, this time by it will be official. 3 caution race on the day, 1 lap to go, and the final lap from Michigan as James Thurston holds his own up in front in the final lap here in the Pure Michigan 160. Up top, once again, Thurston was your pole sitter tonight, led the most laps by the halfway point, and fell back before the final opportunity, that final yellow flag. Gained the opportunity to regroup and get the tire strategy back in play. Gives Thurston a win very similar to that of Kansas. But tonight, it's a bigger track, bigger stakes, and your Season 3 champ will go back to victory lane. Win number 2 in Season 4 for James Thurston as the number 4 Ford Mustang takes the checkered flag in Motor City. Thurston will win with Sean Conklin second and barely holding on. Daniel Mosteller takes home the final spot on the podium, his very first race in the Ford here in the IORA Cup Series, and the Blue Oval comes home in the 3rd position. Now Thurston's going to win this one, and we'll take you through your overall results before we head to our burnout celebration and your overall top 3 interviews. It's going to be Thurston winning then from Sean Conklin in the 2nd spot, Daniel Mosteller 3rd, and Jacob Wilkerson 4th, with Jackson Carr rounding out the top 5. Henry Kaloff is 6th, and it's going to be Vincent Guecci 7th, with Alex Anderson 8th, Corey Lyles 9th, and John Smith then in 10th. 11th is going to be Alexander Balderas, 12th is Aaron Schugel, 13th Will Shack, 14th Kenny Reel, and Braxton Whitaker 15th, with River Page and Oliver Quinney 16th and 17th. Brandon Dugan, Joseph Armstrong, and Matthew Brower are your 3 retirees on the night. Dugan makes it to the end just barely, but Thurston, no trouble from start to finish. Your pole sitter and race winner burns it down from Michigan. James Thurston parks in the inner circle victory lane. The number 4 machine does the job and will win all over again. His Power Smash Infinity Speed teammate comes over to celebrate and congratulate Thurston, the team owner, on another triumphant victory. And this season, it might not be the dominant James Thurston we're all too used to, but his strategy has kept him up there as the ace driver we've remembered from seasons past. Thurston wins for the 2nd time in Season 4 and continues to burn down the house here with Kenny Reel, and the celebration is on as the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport duo keeps the party going here in Michigan. And now motors beginning to blow. Thurston's going to despawn from the track, and the party might have just stopped, but it's not done just yet. We'll have your top 3 interviews here and now. After a fantastic night in Michigan, James Thurston will get it done and come home a winner again. 2nd win of Season 4 for your defending IORA Cup Series champ. And Michigan International Speedway produces another fantastic run, and IORA keeps the strong races going. This has been the Pure Michigan 160. Now time to get your top 3 driver interviews and have our podium here with us to wrap out the night. The scoring pylon might be empty, but Thurston knows one thing: the results absolutely speak for how much effort's been put in by this team all throughout the season. Thurston does it once again, and we'll bring some extra footage before we get that top 3 here with you. It's James Thurston one more time, race winner here from the Michigan International Speedway. And tonight, dominance for that number 4 machine. Looks like no stopping him from the pole position to leading 35 laps by the halfway point. And tonight, it falls in the favor of the Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport Ford Mustang. James Thurston, the strategy call works out once again. Much like Kansas, another win based on some finesse and some strategy all the way home. It's your win here in the Pure Michigan 160 that puts you back in the fight, and it's a 2nd win on an already successful campaign. How do you feel after this event?
I mean, I'm just pretty happy and excited after that one. That was, I kind of felt like I was going to have a real strong shot at that race. And then, whenever we get into a fuel run situation, it just seems like the way that I can save fuel is just kind of a little bit crazy. But yeah, we were able to just pit a lap later than I think we pit like a lap or two later than Conklin. So I just knew if I just made sure I could make it to the end there, I was going to get there. And then we timed it all perfectly and just started pushing really hard with 10 to go. And it stuck. And just thanks to Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsports for the fast car. And that was a fun one.
Looks like tonight, very fun for the perspective of the driver. 35 laps you led in the first half, cooled off just a bit, but came back in the final stretch when it mattered most. How was it working with the pit strategy to get that advantage over Sean Conklin and eventually make it through?
Yeah, I had to give up the lead just so I could save enough fuel to get to the end before pit stops. So yeah, we just saved a little bit of fuel before the pit stop, saved just a little bit after it, just so I, knew I could make it. It wasn't going to run out coming to the line. And, it all came to plan and worked out perfectly. And, we managed to not speed when I pit. I smoked the tires like crazy. We didn't speed. Hit every note perfect the whole race, and that's just what we need every single race. But just awesome race, awesome win for this team.
And as you mentioned, hitting every note, and that's exactly what you got to keep on doing. Another complete race, and you put yourself in the crooked number category. 2 wins, still got a few more nights to go here to wrap off Season 4. Is there any chance to come alive and keep on fighting for the title?
I'd imagine that race is gonna help us in the points. I think we did everything to get every point. I think we won pole at the most laps and then won the race. So, we'll come back for Road America. I think that's the next race, and I'm pretty excited for that. Because I'm usually pretty quick at the road courses. I just usually end up getting wrecked out of them. But we'll come back for that and see what we can do.
And hoping to keep the good runs going, James Thurston, your second win here in Season 4, coming back to the checkered flag in the Pure Michigan 160. Anything else you'd like to add after this event?
I think that's about it. Just thanks for broadcasting this race, and hopefully we can continue having some fun races in this league.
Another fun one till the end. Strategy gives way to a James Thurston victory, the second of the season here in Michigan. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
James Thurston on the way. We'll get your second place driver in here and now. And it looks like tonight, Sean Conklin, your points leader, holds on to come through with another podium finish. Sean Conklin getting it done, second place tonight. And it continues a fantastic season to this point. 27 laps led on the day. One of the best in the business all throughout the season. He showed it once again, making gains until the very final run. How do you feel second place here from Michigan?
Oh yeah, it was a good race. It's kind of relieving to have a long green flag run in this race, but I'm also kind of upset about we had to manage fuel the whole time. You can't the green flag run was fun, but at the same time, worrying about fuel the whole time kind of ruined it for me, and that also cost us the win. We had that win locked up. I feel I think we had it locked up. We could just get the clean air, run the middle, and I think we were going to be fine. And then I didn't realize until about a couple laps after the pit stops, because of me pitting a lap early, which I had no choice to. I had to because I was going to run out of fuel. I ran out of fuel on pit road, so I had no choice. I had to pit that lap, but Thurston could pit a lap later because he was in draft and I was out front leading, so I don't know. It's unfortunate. It's a good win by Thurston, though. He made the right call. He saw it from the start. He was talking about fuel the whole time. I just didn't really believe in it, and he was right. And he played the right cards at the right time. Was good at fuel. He's good at fuel saving. I don't really know what I'm doing with fuel saving. I just send it in, clutch in, and it did save. I got to the end, but I just lost so much time doing it, it didn't really matter. So, congrats to him. I know a lot of people are complaining about it, but at the end of the day, he made the right call, and he did everything right and he won the race. But I think if we didn't have the fuel save, he would have won. But at the end of the day, second place is still pretty good. It's good points. It's definitely good for a track I didn't really know. I was struggling to find the line the first couple laps, and then we got in that one wreck. Didn't really help, and our damage didn't help either. I didn't even take my fast repair. I just repaired the thing, and there was still some damage on the car. And I think if we could have gotten all the damage fixed, we would have been good. But probably would have helped. It probably wouldn't have won us the race, even with the fuel saving, but it would have been better. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. I wish we could have just gone green there and not have to worry about fuel, but nonetheless, it was a good race.
And the strategy really the make or break of this night. And even though it was, of course, James Thurst, as you mentioned, making the call for the win, you held on for a second place finish here. And if you just can't get the win, you got laps led, a runner-up finish, and keeping it in front of your championship rival in Daniel Mosteller. Looking forward to what's next. James Thurston talking to us about Road America. We got a few more twists and turns to look forward to. How does it feel with the remainder of the season? Putting it in perspective, you're still up there leading the championship race.
Yeah, we're pretty good on road courses. I've never actually ran Road America, so we're gonna have to do some practice laps there. And yeah, we'll just see what happens. We're probably gonna be handicapped again next week, so we're gonna start at the back, and we're just gonna have to work our way back up. Hopefully, there's a caution, and try to get to the front and try to go win it. And if we can't win it, then another top 3, top 5 finish like this is plenty good enough.
Still looking for another podium. Sean Conklin not letting up this season. If it's not a first, it oftentimes ends up a second. Runner-up here from Michigan. Any final thoughts to wrap out the night?
Oh no, that's it. Just shout out to Ryko Performance. Pretty much dominating the Open season. Just want to give a shout out. We were 1 through 12 in the NAS championship. So if that says anything. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
There we have it. Sean Conklin comes through for the second place run here in the Pure Michigan 160. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Conklin on the move, one more driver inside your top 3, the aforementioned Daniel Mosteller. He didn't lead a lap today, and tonight is one race to note for this number 87 crew, as for the first time in his career, he's going to take out a blue oval in IORA Cup Series competition. It's a special day for the 87 crew, and it looked at first it'll be a disaster, but you came back, fought through adversity, and get a third place finish at the end of the night. How do you feel rocketing up? Biggest mover with 14 gained positions. What's it like coming through on top?
After the first 6 laps of the race, it was a complete disaster. So to salvage the day and get a top 3 is really good. I just wish I had track position at the beginning of that last run to mount a charge at Thurston and Conklin. I mean, once I got up there after the pit cycle, I was fast. I just needed the track position because I had a really good pit entry there, and I leapfrogged like 10 spots or something. But I mean, P3 is not that bad judging off the first couple laps.
And it was an early issue that we thought was going to take you out of the night, but it looked like you were able to keep it going one faster here. As we've seen, of course, in IORA competition, and having that extra second chance put you back in the frame to keep on going. How was it adapting as the night went on to keep it clean, knowing it was about to do or die with that final extra opportunity?
Yeah, when I was a lap down after having the tow with that accident, I just took it easy. I laid off the pack to try and learn what I needed to do once I got back on the lead lap, and thankfully I got that opportunity because these races, especially on the bigger tracks, we've gone green. But once I got that yellow, I was able to apply what I learned. I took it easy because Balderas and Lyles were getting into it and they were angry at each other. So I sat behind them and I gained a lot of time towards the end of the run on the main pack, which allowed me to capitalize on the pit stop there.
Big capitalization to make it through for a podium in Demos, even if it's not in front of Conklin, you're right behind where you need to be. The championship race not over yet. The twists and turns. Road America is our fellow companion of this series, James Thurston, he mentioned, and all these guys who are best at road courses know it's another opportunity. You got it done at the Chicago street course. You're looking primed to maybe go for another one. What are the thoughts before we head to Elkhart Lake?
I think he'll be pretty good there. But Conklin, he's going to be even better. He's been really strong on the road courses. He won at Watkins Glen. He probably would have won at Chicago. He's going to be a tough one to beat, but you never know with these races.
And the unpredictability of a night here that goes long under green shows that Daniel Mosteller, you come through for the first time in a Ford with the podium. Anything else you'd like to add after tonight's race?
I'd like to thank Mason for running the league and off tracking, all the competitors for making it a fun race. It was a lot of fun with the field strategy there. I'm glad I got it right. Congrats to Thurston for the win, and thanks to you for broadcasting.
Just like that, Daniel Mosteller will push on through for a third place finish here in the Pure Michigan 160. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Now, with Daniel Mosteller on the way to end the night, the number 87 machine comes through, didn't lead a lap, but came home on the podium, and that much more, it matters to keep things going for the driver of the number 87. It's Daniel Mosteller third, Sean Conklin second, and James Thurston at the top of the board to finish off the Pure Michigan 160 here in the IORA Cup Series. But the fun is not done on FTN tonight. It's going to be a doubleheader as River Page will take you through the High Line Racing League as they head this time by to Kansas for the HighPoint.com 200. We'd love to have you watching there, but for tonight's action, I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all of the show here in IORA. We hope you enjoyed tonight's presentation, and if you did, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. From our studios to your homes, we hope you enjoyed tonight's showing of the IORA Cup Series on the Pure Michigan 160, and we hope you all have a fantastic night.